Hi, everybody. So why was it important when we had the election for the Democratic National Committee chair? Remember, it was Keith Ellison, and then Barack Obama and a bunch of corporate Democrats got Tom Perez to run for the chairman and eked out a victory for the chairmanship of the DNC, a corporatist who's cool with corporate money inside the DNC against a progressive like Keith Ellison. So why was that important? People go, that's not even important. Why are you guys making a big deal out of the chair of the DNC? Kid, that's not important. Well, they just, Tom Perez announced new DNC deputy national finance chairs. Oh, so he gets to announce them? He gets to pick them? And why is that important? Well, DNC chair Tom Perez, his top pick was Daniel Halperin. He was the head of the anti-minimum wage lobbying group. He was the head of the Georgia Restaurant Association, and they sent out alerts on how to combat the Fight for 15 protests. So
sounds like a progressive utopia to me.
Sure.
No minimum wage, Georgia. I'm in.
Yeah. So this was.
Are you sure Tom Perez isn't from the RNC?
No, right? So so that guy's the head of the he owns a bunch of TGI Fridays, and he was the head of the Georgia Restaurant Association, and he's no longer, but they did oppose the minimum wage increase. This guy tweets out, Tom Perez just appointed a lobbyist for an anti-minimum wage group in the South as DNC finance chair. I'm not joking. So here's the article from Pace. Democrats appoint anti-minimum wage advocate to finance committee on delivering the absolute minimum. He's the head of Jackmont Hospitality and the Georgia Restaurant Association. Halperin has reliably opposed the minimum wage. His record thus far suggests a hostility towards the kind of worker-friendly policies that the Bernie-era Dems are supposedly pursuing. In Halperin's home state of Georgia, according to PolitiFact, Senate Bill 314 called for raising Georgia's minimum wage to $10.10 an hour, but it didn't get as much as a hearing. That's according to PolitiFact. Why? Well, Halperin's people, the Georgia Restaurant Association, claim that there would be a potential loss of 21,000 jobs, ignoring the increased possibility for consumer spending, for new jobs, for giving hungry people a hand up. Everything must benefit the boardroom, you see, or it's not worth doing. This is from Pace. As PolitiFact helpfully reminds us, Georgia's minimum wage is technically $5.15 an hour. And
wow.
has been since 2001.
I didn't realize anywhere in the country was still that low.
Well,
I did not know that.
But the vast majority of Georgia employees, some say more than 99% of them, must comply with the Federal Fair Labor Standards Act, which means they have to pay their employees the federal minimum wage of $7.25 an hour.
Okay, so that's all right.
Oh, thank
So the
God
federal-
the federal is that high.
Yeah, that high.
I guess
And
there's some
it's
states.
even
All right.
worse in restaurants. It's even worse in restaurants because in restaurants, if you're considered a tipped employee, they can pay you a
Yeah.
substandard wage, and they assume that
Your
your
tips will make up for it?
compensate the minimum wage. So it can be as low as $2 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
If given godlike sway over the business, Halperin and his Georgia Restaurant Association would probably prefer to keep this amount even lower. It suggests Perez and Perez's backers and friends have not gotten the memo about economic justice. So that's what's happening at the DNC. Here's your latest update on what corporate cretin is populating the DNC. There you go.
It's the resistance. They're on it.
They resist progress. They're resisting Trump, but first you resist progressives.
And didn't they at some point at least get minimum wage increase as part of the party platform? And didn't you just hire somebody that is specifically against your agenda?
So this guy, by the way, this Halperin guy, I'll show you his picture. So this guy, I looked him up, and he did an interview on CNBC in 2016. He was out, he was on the board for Hillary. He was on board for Hillary, not on her board. He was on board for her. And he was doing an interview with CNBC, and he talked about how he's for an increase in the minimum wage, I guess because the Democratic Party was, but only up to $12. He said, really, we need 11, but I'll throw an extra dollar in there.
He's a giver, this guy.
He's a giver.
He's a
$12,
giver.
but not 15. Nah, 12's enough. You can't run a 2-bedroom apartment anywhere in the goddamn country on $12 an hour. You know that, right? Where can you do that? You can't. So if you have a wife and a kid, you can't do it. So
I have a quick question. Was it Barack Obama who tapped Tom Perez as the DNC chair?
yes.
Oh.
Yes, it was, Steph.
Huh.
Barack Obama was manning the phone lines, twisting arms of the superdelegates, or whatever you call the people inside the DNC who choose the new chairperson. He was making phone calls, lobbying very hard on behalf of the corporate Democrat, Tom Perez.
And Barack Obama admitted that he would be a Republican. He's a
Barack Obama has admitted, we played on the show, that his policies are moderate Republican. He bragged. He didn't admit. He bragged. He bragged. That's really what that was.
So
Well, in
they
that
keep
regard-
tapping everybody who's a Republican, who's a centrist, or to be in the leadership positions of the DNC. Why are the DNC still? I hate them. I hate the Democrats. I hate them.
It's like if it's like if Trump is a bonfire, and they were here, go fight that bonfire with a lit match. That's what the Democrat. Here, go. It can't. That's not going to make it better. Yeah, well, it's not as bad as the bonfire. That's really how people are thinking. I'm still every day on Twitter. Someone says to me, hey, when it comes down to Trump or Clinton, I got to go Clinton. Yeah, and until you realize the game that's being played on you, you will forever be bragging about voting and supporting a corporatist warmonger who's anti-worker. You will forever be bragging about that until you realize that's the exact goddamn game that Hillary Clinton laid out in her fucking campaign literature, was they wanted to elevate Donald Trump because they knew she was so repulsive to the American people that you would have to be forced to vote for her. And there it go. It worked like a charm. Hillary Clinton manipulated your stupid fucking propaganda-eating brain, and it worked. It worked on half the fucking country. This isn't the only election in our lifetime. If that was the only election in our lifetime, Trump or Hillary Clinton, you vote for Hillary Clinton. It's not the only election in our lifetime. The reason we got fucking Trump is because they keep giving us Hillary Clinton. But fucking people are too stupid to fucking realize that, which is why they keep getting fucked in the ass. It's because you're asking for it. You're welcoming it. Do it again to me, Democratic Party. Give me another fucking false choice. Portland, Oregon, the Jimmy Dore Show is coming to the Alberta Rose Theater November 12th, and we're going to Burbank, California, November 6th, and the Hollywood Improv on October 16th. There's a link for tickets right down there. Go to jimmydorecomedy.com for all links for all shows.